Do you see that change, or do you think we're caught in a situation where, because of the way things are, that is unlikely to change? Because everybody's been waiting for a virtuous investment cycle, which hasn't started. And if it is to start, and if you were advising Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Prime Minister Modi, what would be your bullet points?
I think first we are doing the right thing by increasing government spending, because government spending has to happen. On the back of it, we need to create an environment where corporate India is ready to take big calls on investing into the future. And here, again, I'm saying something which is close to my heart. There is a significant concentration of new investments happening by only a few groups. What India needs to see is many flowers bloom. What we are seeing today is many people are not going ahead and taking the animal instincts call, as a result of which we are seeing significant consolidation and concentration.
So that could happen for two reasons, Mr. Kotak. One is that the animal instincts of those promoters in industrial groups is stronger than the others, and they're taking punts which the others don't want to, or policy is skewed to favor some over the others.
So my sense is, from a policy point of view, and I'm not saying the policy is skewed, my sense is policy must encourage many flowers to bloom.
And that's not happening right now, because many flowers aren't blooming.
Let me give you a few examples. Look at the telecom sector. If we met here 5 years ago, there were 13 players. Now, at the best, we are 2.5. Let us look at the airline industry. You've consolidated effectively to 2.25. Let's look at the steel sector. Two big guys and a lot of small guys. So massive consolidation has happened and continues to happen. And with that, the risk of concentration of business power as distinct from wealth. I'm talking about business power in a few hands, which in the short run can give us results. But long run, you want many businesses to flourish in India.
What would you do differently? Because post-pandemic, in any case, we've seen at the top of the pyramid more concentration of wealth globally. Plus, creating this national champions, for example, in countries like South Korea, did help their growth. But you don't want so much concentration of wealth in a few industrial houses. What would you do differently?
I think first, most important, free and fair markets, backed by policy, which actually allows a competitive marketplace. I would certainly want to see a stronger role of the Competition Commission to ensure that there is fair play in the marketplace. You do not want such concentration in a few hands, which I think long term, as an Indian, I would love to see many more Indians succeed. It's good to see a few big successes, but how do we multiply them exponentially?
You know, I started the session by saying that people latch on to every word of what Uday Kotak says, and I think in the last few minutes you've demonstrated that, because you speak your mind, you speak it fearlessly, and that is fantastic. In the last 21 years, the RBI has given 4 full-fledged licenses for banks. Do you think, in the manner in which the Indian economy is projected to grow, say 10 trillion by the next 10 years, by 2033, are we building enough of a financial sector infrastructure to be able to power the kind of growth the Indian economy is anticipating?
No, I must first compliment the RBI for a phenomenal job in the last 3 years. The way RBI has navigated India through these difficult times, we must compliment the regulator, particularly in the areas of monetary policy and macroeconomic stability. The RBI has also played a very significant role in the health of the Indian banking sector. So we must credit the RBI for dramatically and profoundly managing the Indian financial system to very stable shores. The question which we have to ask for the future, and this is not about the present or the past, is what are we doing for our aspiration? And this is where I think there is an opportunity for Indian practitioners, Indian bankers, Indian policymakers, all of them, to manage risks but get a little bolder. And what do we need to do to change the rules of the game? Yes, We want to minimize accidents on the road. The way to do it is to have better traffic signals, better supervision, better regulation. It is undoubtedly necessary. But along with that, we must encourage lot more cars on the road and lot more roads to be built for a future. And therefore, there are areas where we can do much better for
But
our
you don't
future.
want the traffic policeman to be telling the driver constantly on how to drive. Do you think there's too much interference and over-regulation on aspects of operations on the part of the RBI in the affairs of banks?
No, I think our RBI has an important role to do. Keep in mind, banks are much more leveraged institutions than most average companies. Banks can leverage 10, 12 times its equity. So there is a need for proper oversight. But how do you manage risk whereby you say, I want to minimize accidents, but we cannot get to a situation where there will be no accidents?
I for one, and I'm itching to ask this question to Mr. Kotak, can't understand why the Reserve Bank of India must pick from the list of potential successors that you've given, Shanti Ikambaram and KVS Manian, or somebody else coming out. Shouldn't it really be the decision of the Kotak Bank and you as founder to pick who you think is most capable of getting the job done rather than having the RBI weigh in?
So first of all, the regulation is clear on this now and for a long time in the past. That's how it has been. The board of the bank has to recommend 2 names in order of priority to the regulator. Thereafter, the regulator will make its call and give an approval to 1 name. That's the process which has been there in India for a while and continues to be that. Therefore, as a regulated bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank has followed the regulation as required. Now, whether regulation is right or wrong, it is not for me representing a regulated entity to be speaking about. Rahul, you are a much freer man, but as me, I am regulated and I respect regulation.